Really important. We have to practice the sit breathing in this excerpt. Otherwise, we're going to be uncomfortable taking a breath. There are those of us, like my very fine colleague Tom Rolfs, who can play the whole thing easily in one breath. You know, I'm 5'7". This is not a real viable option for me. So I've learned how to breathe really quickly. Good. After we practice those drills, then we spend a little bit of time just playing the actual lick. You can hear what just happened is normal for me. Like, that was normal for me for 20 years. So now that I'm under the gun and I'm playing this for you, I just airballed the F, right? I have a tendency to put too much energy at the beginning and then I just back off. So I'm going to do it again. Cool. Better. Now, in a practice session, I'd say once you did it correctly, do it 5 times that way. Then move on. Okay, so next I'm going to work on the slur. Right? So it was difficult for me to play all those slurred notes and then gracefully come down and lightly articulate.